Been out here for about an hour holding up waving Ron Paul signs, as you can see.
So what do you like about Ron Paul?
Well, one thing that I really like about Ron Paul is that he wants to end the Federal Reserve. That's one thing that nobody talks about. And once you get educated on that, you know, you'll want it gone too. And I basically, we don't want to go with war to Iran, and everyone's so paranoid that they're going to get nuclear weapons. But let's be real, they're not gonna get weapons. And the media, the mainstream media, wants everyone to think that, oh man, we can't let this happen, but it's not going to happen. And the media is constantly endorsing Romney and Gingrich like crazy, and they're like literally like the worst ones. But
do a lot of people in your age group feel this way? How old are you?
Well, I'm 23.
Okay.
And I served in the Navy, so I've been over there too.
So you're not just some kid off the street just talking some crap. You've actually been there.
Right. Yeah, I've been over there, and no, it's a mess. We need to get out of that part of the world. We need to drill our own oil. This is how I feel.
What you're doing out here tonight?
I'm here because I truly believe Ron Paul is our last best hope for America. He is the only candidate that I feel that I could actually be proud to say I'm voting for. And I'm a reformed Republican. I'm not just about the party anymore, I'm about principles, and I'm now voting principles instead of party, so I'm grateful to be here.
One Paul Revolution.
Yeah.
I love tacos! Chicken tenders are awesome! Jesus wept!
Stephen Colbert for president!
Colbert!
Yeah!
Colbert!
Colbert! Colbert! Colbert!
Racist, homophobic, GOP has got to go! Sexist, racist, homophobic, GOP has got to go! Sexist, racist, homophobic, GOP has got to go! Discrimination is over! GOP has got to go! Sexist, racist, homophobic, GOP has got to go!
Hi, I'm Ariella and I'm 18 years old, and I just thought this is so historic, and it's such a big deal for Jacksonville and just for UNF in general, and it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and I love politics, so.
Is there a candidate in particular that you're voting for?
None of these, actually. But
safe to say it's Obama?
Not necessarily, I'm an independent, but I just think this is so great, and it's to see all this passion all at once and all together, where even though it's all divided, we're all here, and nobody's dead yet, and that's really great.
So does it seem like the people in your age group are starting to get more involved in politics?
Definitely. I would say with all these Ron Paul supporters, I think that's a huge surge. And what's really interesting is the divide that with Obama showing that in 2008, where he had all the young people's support, and now here in 2012, and we have all the Ron Paul support, where we have going from the youngest to the oldest. How does that happen? How does that work? And I'd love to just ask these people why this is, but it's really fascinating.
So what do you think?
Why am I here? Mostly just because I wanted to see what was going to go down tonight. It's UNF's history. I'm an Osprey. I'm interested in this. I want to be able to look back on this day and tell my students and my kids, I was here, I took part, and even though this isn't technically a platform that I really recognize or a thing that I'm technically deeply emotionally invested in, I still want to be here, and I want to see other people out to support, because it's really encouraging to see the political process in some ways at work here tonight.
If there's any question you could ask one of the candidates, what would it be?
For any of the GOP candidates?
Any candidate at all.
How do you plan to fix education reform? Number one question.
What would you like to see happen as far as that's concerned?
I would like to see more public funding, more for public schools, and just a better education in general, because especially in Florida, we are so far behind, and it's such a tragedy, to be honest, as a student of public schools, going to a public university. It's sad, and I think any candidate that can say that we can definitely fix this, that would be the candidate I would vote for.
How about for you?
I'm an education major, and I come from a family of educators, so really similar. It's it's really sad to see how far we've fallen in comparison, not just to other countries, but as Florida as a state, how far behind we are with other people. We need a reform, we need funded mandates, we need either a rewrite of Nicholby or a chance to actually have it funded and make it work. I'd love to ask one of the candidates what they plan to do with education in the next 4 years and how they plan on fixing it. And Republican, Democrat, any party, if I knew that there was somebody who was running with education reform who had a history of it in the past and could prove that they would stand up to it, I would vote for them.
Are y'all registered voters?
Yes, I am.
A conservative activist and have been my whole life. And I am not only supporting Mitt Romney, I am enthusiastically supporting him. As I looked at this race, and I am extremely concerned about this country and don't know how much time we have left as they spend recklessly up there in Washington and are taking us to the brink of bankruptcy. I think we need to get somebody who really is serious about balancing the budget, really serious about cutting spending and getting control of what is happening up there. In addition, somebody who will fight for American workers and get us our jobs back, somebody who understands how this is done. He'll go to China and fight. Not another person on that stage will do that. And so I respect that enormously, because if we don't have somebody fighting for us, it's not going to happen. And then third, I'm a social conservative. And I don't work for people who don't share my values when it comes to life. And these very important issues. And there's no question in my mind that Mitt Romney has been a champion of our issues as governor in sense. And so I'm excited about the possibility that he be our nominee. I think he'll go to Washington. He doesn't have the ties to all those people in D.C. that I can't cut his program, I better not cut this program, I might upset these people. That's why we're in this mess. Nobody has any guts. He has it. This is what he does. He balances budgets. He turns things around. That's what we need in Washington. Someone who, from the outside, comes in with the experience, who has really strong beliefs, and is a terrific leader.
I think Mitt is the most knowledgeable, most capable, and importantly, most electable candidate in the field by far. He also didn't spend his whole life in Washington, D.C. like the other candidates on that stage, and he's actually been in the private sector as an entrepreneur, and our economy needs a leader with that kind of experience and background.
Do you really believe in him?
I'm sorry?
Do you really believe in him?
I do. I think he's going to be a great president, and you got to have a lot of different skills to be a president, including you got to be the type of person who's grounded, who's steady and sturdy, can perform at an A level day in and day out, week in and week out, without a lot of peaks and valleys in that. Mitt can do that. I don't think the same can be said for the others.
You sure?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Good.
So we haven't heard a whole lot from you, sir, about why you're supporting the former speaker. What did it for you? Why are you supporting Newt Gingrich over Mitt Romney?
Because looking to the campaign, but more important, looking to governance. I think it has to do with the condition of the country. I think the country is in terrible shape. It's in worse shape than people think. I think the Fed, again, symptomatic of what they did the other day with regard to interest rates. I think we're at the tipping point in a lot of respects. I think even though we're looking at the European welfare state, the consequences of that, Obama is taking us more and more in that direction. In another 4 years, you'll have more than half the people receiving some kind of government benefit, and more than half the people not paying any income tax at all. And we're going to need somebody who's tough, who's articulate, who's substantive, who knows the stuff, tunes into the American people, understands the perspiration out there, understands what it's like to live in the real world, and who can articulate the issues and take it to Obama. And I'd like to see Obama and Gingrich discuss the Obama so-called State of the Union address the other night, for example. And the fact that if he got all the rich taxes that he wanted, it'd be like about 10% of the debt service. Wouldn't do anything about the debt, but 10% of the debt service. So Newt is the guy who can carry the mail. You have seen him in nights when he's very active. He doesn't artificially produce activity. He doesn't come in and say, I'm going to shout about something, you know, regardless of what happens.
That's what Mitt Romney is doing?
He deals with, well, Mitt felt like, you know, he was falling behind. He outspent Newt 2-1 in South Carolina, and it didn't work. Mitt won just about every demographic group there, except those with postgraduate degrees and making over 200,000. And they kind of fell into a panic mode, and they pulled out all the stops on the airwaves and attacked radio and TV spots that Mitt has never heard or listened to.
Why am I voting for Ron Paul? First of all, I'm a big fan of civil liberties. Ending the Fed, the Federal Reserve is a private institution. We weave cotton, cut printing plates, make money, give it to the Fed gives it back to us at interest. Perpetual debt, we'll never pay it off. Let's see, the NDAA, Patriot Act, all the unconstitutional legislation that he's against. And he's not backed by Goldman Sachs. He's not backed by the big banks, Wall Street, everybody that got us in this mess. You know, we get Ron Paul in office, we're not going to have Timothy Geithner, we're not going to have...
Thank you guys.
We're not going to have all the people that are pulling the strings and hanging us out to dry.
So you know you can handle the money. What about the other stuff?
What about the other stuff? Let's see. The argument that Ron Paul's foreign policy is isolationist is played out like we're just going to sit here, guard our own borders, curl up in fetal position, let everybody do whatever they want. That's not the case. We declare war the way it's supposed to be. We go kick ass and we come home. We don't have 10-year economy-draining battles for no reason. Where's the WMDs? Look at Iran, where's the nuke? History repeats itself, put 2 and 2 together.
You think there are a lot of people that are feeling like you're feeling?
Absolutely. Absolutely. The problem is getting people to open their eyes and get out and do something. You can sit on your computer and Facebook all day, you can play your Xbox, you can do all that shit. But this election is going to change our way of life as we know it, so...
How old are you?
I am 29 years old.
Hey, this is Danielle for WNZF News Radio, and I'm wrapping up the night. I got to go to the Newt Gingrich event to talk to the veterans, and it was very inspirational. It was very moving. If he can do half of what he says, I think things would be a lot better for the people coming back from overseas or places that are serving our country. And I also got to sit in the press room while the debate was going on tonight, the presidential debate, and it was incredibly exciting, and it was great to be around a bunch of people who like to talk about politics and critique and be into it. So it was an amazing experience, and the coolest part was at the end I got to go to the second floor, which was the spin room, and I got to gawk at the coolest people that I get to see on CNN and Fox News every day. I got to interview Governor Pawlenty. I got to interview Babe Buchanan. I got to watch somebody else interview Fred Thompson, which I'm a big Law and Order fan, so that was really a treat. And I saw Bill McCollum and some other cool people, and it was really nice it was an honor for me to get to be around the people who are out there in the world trying to make things better and really doing things. So that's it. Nice and mushy, and go ahead, Florida. Let's see what we can do. Alright, look guys, there are all these Ron Paul supporters out there, and they're kind of not upset, but they're feeling like the mainstream media is not hearing what's going on. They're just going to push either Romney or Gingrich, which I'm kind of going for Romney anyway, but Gingrich, you know, he's pretty compelling today. But these Ron Paul people, like, if you listen to what they're saying, they really mean it, and it makes a lot of sense. And if you heard Ron Paul tonight at the debate, what he's saying makes a lot of sense. And not only that, it's so simple. It's not like all this other stuff that goes along with it. It's just cut and dry. Why do we have to fight with everybody? Why does it have to be that way? So, at least when you go to the poll, take a minute and think about it, and be sure you know what you want, because the next 4 years is going to make a huge difference. Some of the kids I'm interviewing, they're in their 20s, and they don't have a clue, and they don't really care to have a clue. So we need to really think about what we want out of our future and the generations to come. Danielle Anderson, WNZF Local News.